I'm 32, male. 6 months into our engagement, my fiancée, Victoria, 29, took me to our usual steakhouse and dropped a bomb. We'd been together 3 years, wedding set for next summer. She pushed her salad aside, squared her shoulders, and put on that sharp, boardroom expression I knew too well. "Daniel, we need a serious conversation," she began. "Shoot. I want a prenup." I put my fork down. "All right. I mean it. I've worked my ass off building my life. My parents got cleaned out in their divorce. I refuse to ever be that vulnerable." I nodded. "Completely reasonable." She blinked, clearly expecting a fight. "You're not mad?" "Why would I be? It's smart." A relieved smile spread across her face. She reached for my hand. "God, I love you. Most men would get defensive, but you get it. I can't gamble my future on anyone. Not even you." That last part stung, but I kept my face neutral. "So how do we do this?" "My attorney is already preparing the documents. Standard stuff. Everything we bring in stays ours, no spousal support, clean split if it ends." "Perfect. I'll have my own lawyer look it over." She laughed. "You don't have a lawyer." "I'll find one." The rest of dinner she was radiant, gushing about how mature we both were, how removing money from the equation would make our marriage bulletproof. What Victoria didn't know was that I had stayed deliberately quiet about my own finances from day one. She assumed I was a regular mid-level tech contractor, pulling maybe $90K a year. She never dug deeper, and I never volunteered. Truth was, 5 years earlier I'd written a boring but insanely useful restaurant inventory app. One licensing deal with a huge hospitality group still paid me roughly $40,000 a month in royalties. Add 4 fully paid-off rental units, a stock portfolio I'd been feeding since I was 18, and the quiet 7-figure exit from a failed startup she thought had tanked, and my net worth was comfortably north of 8 figures. I drove a 2015 Accord, lived in a nice but basic apartment, and shopped at Target. Lesson learned young: money changes how people treat you. I wanted someone who loved the guy, not the balance sheet. Victoria, meanwhile, loved broadcasting her success. Her marketing agency had a dozen clients. Her condo carried a fat mortgage. Her BMW was leased. But in her telling, she was one campaign away from private jet life. That same night, I called my old college roommate Tommy, now a partner at a big family law firm. "Tommy, I need the most ruthless prenup attorney you've got." He started laughing so hard he wheezed. Wait, Victoria wants a prenup to protect her money from you?" "Pretty much." "Oh, this is delicious." A week later, I sat across from Alina, a woman who looked like she bench-pressed corporate raiders for fun. She flipped through my asset summary and grinned like a great white. "Let me make sure I've got this right. Your fiancée believes she's the rich one and you're the broke boyfriend she's graciously saving from poverty. That's the gist. She's in for a surprise." Victoria, meanwhile, was telling anyone who would listen how progressive and empowered she was for protecting her empire. At a group dinner, she actually announced, loud enough for the whole table, "I told Daniel flat out I'm not risking my future on him, and he was totally cool with it. He knows I'm the primary earner here." My buddy James, who happens to pay me rent every month, almost inhaled an ice cube. I shot him a death glare that said, "Shut your mouth." Her first draft arrived. It was comically lopsided. All premarital assets remain separate. Fine. No alimony either direction. Also fine. Gifts over $500 had to be documented in writing. The $18,000 engagement ring comes back to her in a divorce if we had kids. She gets final say on all financial decisions concerning them in a split. I had to vacate any marital home within 30 days, regardless of title. Alina read it and cackled. "She wrote this like you're a struggling barista about to latch onto her fortune." "Let her think that a little longer," I said. Our counterdraft was scrupulously fair with one addition: full, verified financial disclosure from both sides before signing. The joint meeting was scheduled for a Thursday afternoon. Victoria strutted in wearing a $3,000 suit like she was about to take over a Fortune 100 company. Her attorney, Mr. Garrett, looked at me like I was gum on his shoe. Garrett began, "I trust you've reviewed our very reasonable terms." Alina slid our binder across the table. "We require complete disclosure first." Garrett shrugged and handed over Victoria's neat little stack. Alina handed over mine: bank statements, brokerage accounts, royalty schedules, deeds, the works. Dead silence. Garrett's eyes bugged out. Victoria snatched the pages and started flipping, her face drained of color. "This is fake." "Every page is stamped and verified," Alina said sweetly. Victoria looked up at me, voice shaking. "Daniel, why didn't you ever tell me?" You never asked. You seemed to enjoy the story where you were the successful one. Garrett tried to call a recess. Victoria snapped no and stormed out. Garrett scurried after her. The next 48 hours were a masterclass in the 5 stages of grief gold digger edition. First, rage texts, you lied. You made me look stupid in front of everyone. Then confusion, were you testing me this whole time? Then denial, nice prank, hilarious, now show the real documents. Finally bargaining, but not for money. For the narrative, she showed up at my apartment at 10 p.m. Saturday night. We can still fix this, she said. Sign my original prenup, keep everything separate, but nobody ever has to know you have money. We keep the story exactly the way it's always been. I stay the powerhouse, you stay the supportive regular guy. I stared at her. You're seriously asking me to pretend to be broke for the rest of my life so your Instagram brand stays intact? It's not pretending. It's just curating the truth. Your ego is astrophysical. She started crying angry tears. You don't understand. My entire identity is being the self-made woman who doesn't need a man's money. If people find out you're loaded, I become the girl who married up. I become basic. I almost laughed at the irony. 2 days later, her mother, Judith, called me. Daniel, how could you humiliate my daughter like this? She thought she was marrying a simple, honest man. I am simple and honest. I just have commas in my bank account. Then came the intervention. Victoria gathered her 3 best friends and ambushed me at Natalie's place. They sat me down like I was the problem. Natalie, we get that you're upset about the prenup, I snorted. I'm not upset about the prenup. Qley, faking all this wealth to punish her is emotional abuse. Rebecca waved her phone. We Googled you. There's no record of any big sale. I pulled up my banking app, flipped through live accounts, royalty deposits, property tax records. The room went mausoleum quiet. Qley finally whispered, so why exactly are you with her? Victoria exploded at her own friend. The hypocrisy hung in the air like smoke. I stood up. I was with her because I loved her. Turns out she only loved being richer than me. Victoria slapped me across the face. Hard, I walked out. The next morning she showed up with coffee and a half apology. I shouldn't have hit you, but you have to see how humiliating this is. A week ago you wanted legal protection from me fleecing you. Now I have money and suddenly I'm the villain. Pick a lane. She wandered my apartment actually looking at things for the first time. The IKEA couch that cost 15 grand. The Target watch that cost more than her car. The cheap wine that retailed for 2 grand a bottle. She sank onto the couch and whispered, I'm an idiot. No, you're just someone who needs to be the richest person in every room. That's the actual problem. I gave her one last offer. Sign your original prenup. I'll give you everything you asked for and more. 0 claim on your stuff. But we tell the full truth to everyone, friends, family, Instagram, all of it. Her face crumpled. I can't. My brand. Then we're done. Her final play was an NDA. She wanted me to legally gag myself from ever mentioning my own net worth so she could keep the boss babe who married a normal guy story alive. Her own lawyer refused to draft it and fired her as a client. The wedding was canceled. She told anyone who would listen that I'd catfished her with money. Most people just thought she'd lost her mind. 6 months later, I started dating Grace, an ER doctor, told her about the money on date 3. She shrugged. Cool, want to split the appetizer? We're getting married next month. Fair prenup, full disclosure from day 1. Last week, Victoria slid into my DMs. Saw you're engaged. You told her about the money already? First month. And she still wants you? Wild. I replied. Turns out some people care about more than who has the bigger bank account. She blocked me. I don't regret staying quiet about the money at first. It was the perfect filter. I just wish Victoria had been the person I thought she was. The prenup didn't break us. It just held up a mirror and she hated her own reflection.